Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my reread of Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. Now, I absolutely enjoyed what we got in the show. The show is doing such a great job at fleshing out the characters a bit more, making me feel pissed off with Allison, showing us the flawed characteristics of all the characters. It was really cool. We got to see Blackjack, we got to see Clarice take the fleece on Blackjack back home. That was really cool. We saw once again these moments of Dark Percy where he honestly took the knowledge of the quest and the prophecy that Clarice shared with him and then manipulated her with it. Like, that was both sad but also cool to see. So I'm really hyped to read the book and see how we are going so far. Now we will be covering chapter 17 and 18. Chapter 17 is we get a surprise on Miami Beach, and chapter 18 is the party ponies invade. There are aspects that I feel like whatever we'll cover in these two chapters might happen in the next chapter, and I almost contemplated just reading the final four chapters in one go as opposed to breaking it down, but then I was like, you know what, let's have fun. It's not like the story is new to me. I have a basic concept of what happens in the story anyways. I think at the end of chapter 18 or at the start of chapter 19 we go back to camp, which is what happened at the end of episode 7. I think it will be fun. Let's actually start this reread and see what happens next. We get a surprise on Miami Beach, chapter 17. Let's go. So there was Mango on the island, like when Grover is all about, oh, Polyphemus, if you roast me, I'll taste really good along with some mango chutney. And Polyphemus is like, what are mangoes? Where will I find them? Tyson did find a soggy mango that he then gives to Rainbow. So cute. I love that. This is cool. I would have loved to see this. The mist transforms the fleece from a sheepskin to a red and gold high school letter jacket with a large glittery omega on the pocket. I mean, I get why they didn't try to show that because it would have been too confusing to viewers, but this would have been fun to see. Everyone's worried because there's no cash with anyone. All Percy has is a golden drachma. Annabeth and Grover don't have any cash. Clarice pulls out a wet Confederate dollar from her pocket and sighs. Then Tyson goes, cash? Like in the duffel bags? Apparently he salvaged the cash that Hermes had given them. He's like, thought it was a feedback for Rainbow. He said, found it floating in sea but only paper inside. Sorry. He says as he hands Percy $300. Be sorry to me, Tyson. I would like $300 too. Percy gives the fleece to Clarice and Annabeth goes, Percy, that was so generous, Grover offered. Insane, Annabeth corrected. You're betting the lives of everybody at camp that Clarice will get the fleece safely back by tonight? It's her quest. I said she deserves a chance. Percy is nice, Tyson said. Percy is too nice, Annabeth grumbled. But I couldn't help thinking that maybe, just maybe, she was a little impressed. Had surprised her anyway, and that wasn't easy to do. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't give my bully something that, I would be like, yeah, take care of this, make sure that this reaches home safely. I'd be like, I'm gonna do it myself. I don't care about you, man. That was crazy. I feel like Luke in the book is so much more evil. Like, I am at least open to listening to the Luke in the show. I told you guys, right? Like, when I first started reading the series, I got disillusioned with Luke really quickly. But the show is doing such a good job with us staying hooked on to his character because Luke pokes Grover's jeans and Grover goes, hey, that's real goat fur under there. And Luke goes, sorry, old friend. Just give me the fleece and I'll leave you to return to your little nature quest. Like he knows how important this quest is for Grover, and he's like, you know what, never mind, I don't care about it. Yeah. The way Percy sets up the Iris Scholar as well, like he notices that Luke is angry, so he takes out his golden drachma, yells straighter at Luke and throws it at him. As he expected, he dodged it easily. The coin sailed into the spray of rainbow colored water. I hope my prayer would be accepted in silence, I thought with all my heart. Oh goddess, accept my offering. And then he just starts yelling at him like, you tricked all of us, I yelled at Luke. Even Dionysus at Camp Half-Blood. And the way he said Dionysus at Camp Half-Blood, oh, that's so smart. Like, kind of really did want to see this happen in the show. Once again, I get it. The show is going in a different angle, but this would have been so clever to see. And the fact that Luke is aware of Kronos' plan because he goes, you don't understand the half of it. I was going to let you take the fleece once I was done with it. Like, it was the plan of Kronos to ensure that Thalia is another piece in the game. Dionysus just goes, well, some unplanned dinner entertainment. Tantalus grabbed the cheeseburger. It didn't bolt away from him. He lifted it from the plate and stared at it in amazement, as if it was the largest diamond in the world. I got it, he cackled. We are no longer in need of your services, Tantalus, Mr. D announced. Tantalus looked stunned. What? But you may return to the underworld. You are dismissed. No, but no! As he dissolved into mist, his fingers clutched at the cheeseburger, trying to bring it to his mouth. But it was too late. He disappeared and the cheeseburger fell back onto its plate. The campus exploded into cheering. Oh, the fact that this wasn't even like violent revenge, but it was revenge for how annoying Tantalus was. Chef's kiss. Man, I loved seeing this particular bit so much. The fact that Blackjack was calling Agrius and Luke some name so bad Chiron would have washed her muscle out with saddle soap. I told you last summer, Percy, you can't bait me into a fight, Luke said. And you keep avoiding one, I noticed. Scare your warriors will see you get whipped. Rage bait like Percy or don't rage bait at all. Percy's like, oh, if Luke backs down now, he's going to look weak. If he fights me, he's going to lose valuable time chasing after Clarice. For my part, the best I could hope for was to distract him, giving my friends a chance to escape. Like, see, battle reflexes, man. The strategies. I love his strategies so much. Especially as an adult. As a kid, I was like, oh, that's smart. Now I'm like, oh, that's clever. I like it. The fact that Percy fears for the first time that he should have stayed at camp and practiced like Chiron told him to while facing Luke, but doesn't think about that while facing Polyphemus tells us a lot about how he ranks and prioritizes his enemies because goddamn. Once again, pisses me off because one thing I want you to watch before you die, Percy, he looked at the bear man Orius who was still holding Annabeth and Grover by their necks. You can eat your dinner now, Orius. Bon appetit. Hee. The bear man lifted my friends and bared his teeth. Like, he was not remorseful with the fact that Annabeth was going to die. He was like, have at her. I don't care. Whereas in the show, we get a Luke who's genuinely worried about Annabeth, and I like that angle of the show a lot more than this. Because in this, Luke is so possessed with revenge that he doesn't care about anyone else. I like this. Monsters never die. They are reborn from the chaos and barbarism that is always bubbling underneath civilization. The very stuff that makes Kronos stronger. They must be defeated again and again, kept at bay. Heroes embody that struggle. You fight the battles humanity must win every generation in order to stay human. Oh, such a solid line. Or well, lines. That was really cool. Percy going, Kronos, a favor or something? He spared your life? Percy, Chiron said, his voice impossibly soft. The Titan Kronos is my father. Dun dun dun. That brings us to the end of this book reread. Oh, for the first time, like we finally get to understand why Chiron was fired. That was so crazy. But absolutely wonderful reread. The party ponies attack on the ship was crazy. I still feel like we are going to get that, but we will potentially get that at campgrounds. Definitely like the look of the show a lot better than the look of the book because this guy just makes me pissed off. I'm like, yeah, I don't care about you enough, man. Like, I get it, but I also don't really care about you enough. Also prefer the Blackjack of the show a lot more than the book because this Blackjack just knocked Argius, who kind of got him out of the stables, just knocked him out and flew away, whereas the Blackjack of the show at least knocked out 4 demigods, which was fun. But really liking where the show is going, the depths of characters we are getting for each person is really cool, and I can't wait to see you all in the finale. So I'll see you all in the finale. Like, share, subscribe, comment, tell me your favorite parts from the book as well as from this video down in the comments below, and I shall see you in there. Until then, bye bye, take care, toodaloo.